Welcome to another exciting episode of the Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Papergoy, and we're going low tech today. I don't even have the green screen up behind me. That's how low tech things are today. Wanted to talk quickly to you guys about how easy it is to pick up items when you have the long tail paper. And by that I mean, well, obviously everybody knows I talk all the time that I've got about 40,000 unlisted items, and that may actually be on the low side, may actually be 50,000 or more at this point. Now, I've been doing it, accumulating items since the early 2000s, so that really isn't that impressive when you think about it. You know, if you're talking 15 years, you're talking 3,000 items a year extra that I've picked up that I've not been able to get listed, which is very, very reasonable because it's easy to pick items up. That being said, I would say that leaving out the few more expensive items that I buy, like everybody knows I buy things over at Heritage. Obviously, I'm paying a little more money over at Heritage, and I will pay more for some better items now and then. That being said, I can go or do go to the flea markets all the time up over here, and for $2 and under, I pick up a fair number of decent items. In fact, $5 is kind of the most that I pay on most items unless I know that it's a really good item. And that got me thinking the other day when I was taking a look, as my cost of items is so small, we'll say I'm averaging $1 or under when everything is said and done. And my selling price is probably around, with shipping, which I do offer free shipping currently, we're probably talking $22 sales price or something like that. And you're like, wow, you paid $1 on average and you sell things for over $20 on average. You know, you're making all this money. And then I started thinking about that. And it's sad when at this point, the cost of packing supplies is basically the same as my average cost of items. I've been pricing supplies out. And of course, you got to have a bag. You're going to have a piece of cardboard or stiffener in the packaging, and then you're going to have no big deal. You're going to have a piece of tape. You're going to have I know I could probably change over to a thermal printer. I've not done so, but you're going to have the piece of paper, the ink. You got to tape the paper on there, and you're also going to have the envelope. And you start adding up the envelope and the backer and the bag, et cetera, and sometimes you're up to 75 cents to $1 just on that alone. So when you pay $1 for an item, yet it's costing you 75 cents in packing supplies, that starts really cutting into your profit. Having the free shipping, basically the cheapest anything goes out for would be something media for $3.65, and you're all the way up into some things, if they're under a pound, are still over $6 if it's going out to California. 15 ounces out to California. It just kind of is. I don't want to use the word outrageous because I know my costs going in. But it kind of gets very, very difficult at that point, because then how much more than a dollar can I really pay? Because if I'm going to sell the item for $20 to $25, if I get into paying $5, $7, $10 for the item, you start adding in all those other costs, and of course you can't forget the fees on the item as well. If you figure 15% as a fee, just in general, a lot of times you have promoted listings on there. If you're selling over on eBay, it starts really eating into it. And that's only my eBay side. Now you get into the Amazon side, and all of a sudden, if you're charging, costing you 75 cents just for the packing supplies, you suddenly have to have a minimum over there, $5, $6, $7 on an item. And that's an item that you basically, got for nothing. You buy a whole long box of comics because there's a few good comics in there, and you just sell the other stuff off over there for, $4, $5, $6 a piece. You're really not making anything on it. And that's where a lot of the people that are newer to this don't realize all of those costs. And I always do like to explain those costs to somebody if they've got stuff they're trying to sell me, because they're looking at it as $20. Oh my gosh, that'll sell for $20. I'm like, yeah, it will. However, you take the shipping out, going out to California, you're talking $6.50. I'm at $13.50 at that point. You add 15% fees on a $20 item, you're at $3. I'm at $10.50. You add in the packing supplies, 75 cents. I'm at $9.75. Take out the cost of whatever the item is. And then you also have to add in the time value of money and the value of your time. And most of the things that I'm buying are long tail. They could take 6 months, a year, and those are quick sales for me. I've got items that'll bring you guys all the time over in the Bolo videos that I've had listed since 2011. If I've got to hold on to it for 10, 11, 12 years, suddenly you're talking about, I can't pay very much for the item. Now, obviously, if it's a really good item and I know it's going to fly right off the shelf, it's a different story. But in the paper world, you don't find that often. You certainly don't. I could certainly sell things cheaper than I sell them for and do more volume, but even that's no guarantee. If you have a, I don't know, March 31st, 1955 Time magazine, there's no guarantee anybody's going to want it to start with, whether you price it at $30, $20, $10, or $5. It's just not something that's necessarily in high demand. Now, obviously, there are exceptions to that. You get into the comic books, things like that. I mean, if I've got an Amazing Fantasy 15, that's going to fly no matter what. It's a high demand item. But most paper items are not high demand. They're just not. Especially a lot of the things that I sell where you get back into, the late 1800s, there are not a lot of people looking for a given magazine from 1896. There simply is not that big of a pool of people. And there also are not a lot of them out there. So whether you sell it at or ask on it $20 or $40 or $60 really doesn't make too big of a difference as long as you're in the realm of reality. Obviously, if I asked $12,000 on it, I'm never going to make that sale. But that being said, $20, $40, or $60 are all kind of the same because the person's probably not going to be able to find it. And then they have to look at it and they have to figure out what it's worth to them. So hopefully that helps you a little bit there, just kind of understanding the costs. And it just kind of jumped out at me the other day again when I was buying some supplies and I said, wow, these have really, costs of the supplies have really gone up. It's just expensive. When you're adding 75 cents to $1 in order to get it there safely, that's a bit of money added onto every single order. Gets a little bit difficult to make anything off it when your costs are up over there and you can't have any option but to pay less money on it. Again, I wish I could pay more to people, but I just can't because the bottom line is I'm not making all that much money given the amount of work that I put in either. So I've got to make it worth my while and justifiable as well. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. Wanted to break down the cost a little bit for you. Hopefully you found that interesting. Hopefully you hit the like button, and hopefully we will see you next video.